Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle Book Haul of the 19th of January 2023. There's no comic ones, so if you're not interested in art books and other things, then it's just comic books. I haven't got any, sorry, so you can click off now. But this one, The Story of Art. I love this. Without Men, Katie Hessel. Some brilliant artists all the way through it. Renaissance, 17th, 18th, 19th century, and also 20th century. Tons and tons of brilliant art all the way through. Now that is probably one of the bigger pictures in this book. Sadly, the book is quite small, you can see there. It's not a huge book. It would be nice if it was much larger, but you've got lots of pictures like that. It would have been great if that picture, which I've never seen before, had been a full page. Or I don't really have to have it spread over 2 pages because quite obviously then you get the problem with the gutter. It would be nice if they were just bigger. Just over the page would have been great, but it does cover many great artists. Many probably have got no books on them, or maybe if they have, probably from about 1910 or something, and of course very obscure and very hard to find, but lots and lots of fairly small pictures, but still tons of great information. I found it very interesting to read. Really recommended book. And you can see there Katie Hessel, and it's my old copy is in the Amazon warehouse. Probably reason why it had a very weird route coming to me. Took forever. I got this one from my local Oxfam. I love these sort of books. I love drawing, so it's just great. Illustrators figure. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have the cover. Would have been nice. Always slightly confuses them because you look online, you start looking for other books related, and you see the cover and you think, oh, is that the same series? And that's the trouble when you haven't got that. So illustrators figure reference. And this is always great. It's full of lots and lots of examples. You've got like yoga, you can see there. And there's also nude women as well, and men, and different. But there's a few complaints I've got about this book. Businessman talking on phone, looking at watch. I mean, which is fascinating stuff. You think, well, that's very good. In all the poses, of course, different angles. So you've got that as you go all the way around. But at the same time, you can't really make out much because it's black or grey. It's sort of just very hard to work any real detail out. You've got more like a silhouette than that. And also the one thing, another criticism I have, waiter serving wine, lots and lots of poses. That, of course, it's slightly old-fashioned. You can't do much about that. But at the end of the day, the clothes, people, it doesn't really matter but it doesn't say whether you can draw from these and use these without, worrying about copyright. Obviously, you're not going to copy exactly the same thing, but can you use it to produce drawings and paintings? It doesn't say. It's got a reference to things saying you cannot use this book for, the usual copyright issues. And then it puts a comment saying, well, like I said, there's no sort of information. You think, well, if you've got a reference book, you're going to use it and draw from it. You'd think that would have been the sort of information. Because sometimes I've got books like this, and actually they state very clearly, you can use this in videos or you can use this in XYZ. And it would be nice if they just put in there saying you cannot take these images and draw and then print them or whatever. It doesn't say. Maybe it does. I don't know. I couldn't find any reference to it. But that would be just something, just clear that up. Because, you might sort of see, that pose is great. I'm going to draw it. You put it in a drawing, put it on a cover of a magazine, and someone says, well, that's from that book. I don't know. Nowadays, everyone's so happy to... Right. Chris Riddle's Doodle a Day. Now, I should have bought this up when I was up in London. I went up to London last week and I saw it in, my favourite shop. It was one of those... I was rushing around because I was going to the National because I wanted to go and see the Eva Gonzalez exhibition. It was just finishing. I think it's finished now. Well, gone now. Yes, it has. 19th. It has gone. And I thought, must see it finally. So I didn't buy anything, which is very rare because there was also a Spider-Man gallery edition. I regretted. When I got home, I thought, why didn't I buy that? It was like really good price. And they had loads of copies. And I thought, But likewise this. I just picked it up and also picked up some lovely PS Art World ones, comic book ones, Eerie and those sort of things. They were great. And again, I was rushing around and I do that quite often. I shouldn't be like that. But this book I saw and I thought, well, you know what, this is fascinating. These are great and it's got the date, which I'm maybe not so useful actually, because of course you've got the date on there. Does that force you to have to draw it on the January 28th? So a page, if they did it just by page, page a day, then you wouldn't have to worry about January the 17th. Oh, I've got to do it on there, on the January the 17th. Illustrate or decorate this word. I mean, I haven't done it yet. But I do love these sort of books, and quite often I can scroll to them. And unfortunately, I got this one second hand. That's why I should have bought it in Gosh. Should have bought it in Gosh, but didn't. And stupidly, because unfortunately I got my copy, and someone's drawn in it. And oh, very nice, very, very nice drawing. So, but when I got it, it didn't say that there had been any marks or anything in the book. Now, I know some people probably would send it back saying, it's marked, it's drawn, but it is a drawing book, and you've got to accept that possibly someone's going to do that. And there's about 10 pages out of this has got drawings in there. But I think this book is still lovely. Look at that. Write this postcard as though it's written by a penguin. You have to use imagination on that one, because I'm quite certain that penguins don't write many postcards, or what language they use, or anything. But I suppose they slap their whatever. I don't know, but it would be quite interesting. And I think that's just great. Miss O'Brown, apartment 243, Far East, it says there on the postcard. I think still, but it's inventive and it's creative, and why not? Add a lot more bubbles floating up from Sandra's tea. Just great fun, just to draw various things. And I don't know, I can see, oh, that's a snowman on the other one, obviously near wintertime. So, but this is a lovely book. These sort of books are just great. And it would be like really nice if other artists, favourite artists, I know one that I would love, Dave McKean, Doodle a Day. That would be brilliant. Dave McKean one, 365 days of Dave McKean artwork, which you could then embellish and add your own versions on. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but that, or someone else. Obviously, Marvel could do a Jack Kirby one, or Neil Adams, or whatever. You could imagine a whole Barry Windsor Smith. Or artists could do it anyway, obviously. But that would be good. Kayfabes. Maybe Kayfabes could do one of them. That would be brilliant. Oh, that, I can imagine their books. I love their books, but I can imagine that would be so intense. Ooh. Image of the Poet. I love, again, this is an Oxfam one, and I just, whenever I pick up these sort of things, you never know what you're going to expect. And this one, I don't know, this is a library book from Maidstone College of Art Library. And that's the great thing about these. You can find some really great sort of things like that. Probably books you're not thinking, you know what, I must buy a book about Image of the Poet. Why would you? 1982, Clarendon Press. And this has got Shakespeare, of course, the usual suspects, Pope, Byron, Romantic Image, End of Fame, Tennyson and After. And it is full, obviously, of Shakespeare. We've got some Shakespeare examples, lots of Shakespeare examples. Some I have never seen before, never realised. You've got Milton, obviously, suspects. The book's reasonable sized, and it's just full of just great pictures. I look at this one, Shakespeare by William Blake. I've never seen that. I probably have, I don't know, not familiar with that. But there's just other ones, Byron painting, resting after swimming. So it's full of examples of artwork that perhaps, because obviously it's themed, that you might not generally come across. Because of course you get a collection about Manet or Monet, you'll get their work. Or you'll get the more established sort of books. And they're great. But I think these sort of books quite often show lots of pictures that you don't generally find. And this is one, British Poets and Their Portraits by David Piper. This one's an old one. Again, a themed one. Perhaps it's one of these sort of, I don't know. But it's actually quite full of some interesting art. Angels. And I love these sort of books. They're full of this one, The Ramparts of God's House. Now, I honestly have never seen that before. That book, that painting. You can see what a great painting that is there. And this one, I have seen that, I'm quite certain. Roger de Van, what is his name? Van de Weyden. Completely. Now, I love it when you go to like Bruges or Ghent or those sort of places and just see all the artwork there in Belgium and Holland and etc. It's just great artworks. Just love that weird, it's just a very odd style, sort of stretch. I don't know what it is, that it always appeals to me. And I love these sort of things as well. Look at that, just beautiful. And this book is quite a nice size. And it's got lots of unusual pictures like that, which I just enjoy. I love these sort of books. This Eden. This one's British paintings from the Paul Mellon collection at Yale. This is a Yale Centre for British Art. And it's full of great pics. Feels very much like an auction catalogue to me, personally. But it is full of just some great, good ones, unusual ones. ones that are fairly well known, as well as ones that I have never seen before. I'm quite certain of. Obviously, Thomas Gainsborough, you've got the usual one, Turner. But the thing is, I love about it, is you've got this sort of thing. Claude de Jong. And look at that beautiful one there, the Westminster Stairs on the Thames. I don't think I've ever seen that picture of the Thames. It's just great. You get such a snapshot basically into the past. This one is in 1631, 1637. You can just look at it and stare at it for ages and thinking, wow. And you can see all the productions on TV, all those sort of things, you know, when they sort of show Tudor England or Elizabethan England. But I think these paintings, when you look at it, you can see the world in the way that it really was like, as much as you ever can from an artist. Obviously, there's always going to be some modifications and changes and things. But you've got, obviously, famous Hogarth there. But there's so many ones like People's Houses and things. There's one with just this sort of one. George Romney. Now, I've heard of him, but, I mean, what a great piece of artwork there. And that sort of, if you were sort of filming that, I don't think that would look anything like the actors and everything would be completely different. So you can really see that world looking back in that picture. Obviously, a stationary snapshot of a particular moment. Obviously, it's not a particular moment. It's been changed and tweaked over time. Obviously, as the artist modifies his impression of the scene. But it's still, wow. And you also obviously see him, the guy just sketching, looks like just a sketching a triangle there. Very odd. But also you've got all the details there as well. So you've got where it comes from, first exhibited, etc., gift of, conversation, the artist's brother, Peter and James Romney, which is really nice, 1766. So it's got lots of unusual pictures in this sort of book. And likewise, this sort of catalogue, which I do. This is an auction catalogue. Obviously someone that was super rich. Getty, the Getty collection. I don't know why anyone would need as many chairs or mirrors or whatever, or ceramics. Just vast amounts of things. But the thing is, when they come to sell it, wow, Alan Gordon Getty, what a collection of paintings. Now there's some famous paintings in here, obviously, those sorts of things. Everyone's seen that one. But there's also lots of chairs. You've got to have chairs. Who would want to sit? I don't know. It's just that's anyway. This sort of thing, Venice. I mean, look at that. Just beautiful, beautiful paintings. And it's always great about these catalogues is that there's just tons of information about the artists in many cases. So you've got this one. Beautiful. Again, you can see the artist there. And that's what this book is. It's just full of just great paintings, obscure ones, ones that I've never seen before. Some, of course, famous ones, but this one. I mean, a guy called Cano, or Canaletto, of course. I love that. I never think of it. Obviously, the name there, but you just look at that, just lovely painting. You can sort of look into that picture and sort of imagine that world, sort of all the people mingling around as they go in, obviously a church here, Church of the Redemptor, however you say it. But this is full of just great examples all the way through, and lots of chairs and things like maps. I mean, what a wonderful map that is, the map of Guangdong province. So that's a really lovely book. I think art catalogues are just great. I love picking those sort of things up. Now, this is an interesting book, an unusual book. Hilma of Klint, Visionary. I think I probably could have chosen a better one, but still, it's still pretty good. This is actually a catalogue of an exhibition, Paintings for the Future, that was done in October 2018 in New York. It's still full of great paper quality, everything about it. It's a quality book, but I think the pictures were not as good as I was expecting. I was somehow expecting something else because it's got too many of this sort of thing. I would have preferred some bigger pictures. Sometimes too many of these really very tiny for an auction catalogue, for a catalogue of an exhibition. I think it's just such a pity that they're so tiny, because when you go to it, or maybe of course some of these works might not have been there. I have no idea. I didn't go to the exhibition, so it's possible the ones that are very tiny are ones examples showing additional other information. But it would be nice to have slightly bigger pictures than that. And I think it's a picture over there, photograph of the birth of Theosophy. I assume that's yes. No, it's not. I'm saying it. My apologies. Helena Blavatsky. You see the details there. And lots of other things as well, some very unusual ones. Primer of Higher Space. But still, fascinating book. all the same. That's the best to last. Johann Zoffney, an artist that I'd never heard of. Last week, I saw a picture by him in the National Gallery, and I was sitting down, looking at it for about half an hour and thought, what a great artist. Really must find out more about him. And I looked online, and I found there's a copy of this. Johann Zoffney. There's about 4 other books. Some may be better, some may be worse. I don't know, because of course I chose this one. It's not huge, but it's full of just picture after picture. And as it says on the back, it's got lots of pictures that have never been previously published. And I can well imagine there's some really fascinating pictures in here that I'm quite certain I have never seen. There's a lot of artists that obviously, other than Zoffney as well, sometimes slightly confusing at times. I think, is that by Zoffney? I don't think it is. And then you look down and say, oh no, it isn't. But this one, I assume is, because it doesn't say otherwise. But it's just full of information all the way through it. Great art. I mean, look at that one. Just absolutely brilliant. I love those sort of pictures. Just captures that period so well. And I love the ones where, in fact, it shows in like people's rooms and their house, and you've got this sort of thing. I could just buy all these sort of books that show those sort of scenes. And what a great scene. Quite often I love watching all the dramas on TV, you see all the period dramas, fascinating as they are. You always watch it and think, well, no, that's an actor. Obviously, it's an actor looking like as he's now. It's very hard, I think, to ever you could never recreate it to make it look exactly like it is. It would be impossible, I think. You just couldn't. There's people, everything about it. Look at that world there, all the men there. Just, it's not going to, I don't think you could recreate that so it would look exactly like that in a drama anyway. So I think the paintings are just, for me, always a fascinating snapshot into that time. And obviously people, I mean, look at this one, this Mrs. Mary Oswald. Just glorious pictures there. I look at the clothes as well. Of course, there's brilliant fashion designers now that produce really amazing works in these period dramas. Quite often they win Oscars and all that sort of stuff. They look stunning. But I think that sometimes the designers, the people, the materials they had, some of course probably it's going to be different materials. I don't know even what materials they were, but I'm certain people turn around and say, no, you can get all the materials that you can see in these pictures now. I don't know, I don't think you can. Be like doing all like the 60s ones, the millions of different rayons and whatever it was that came out, vast amounts of materials. Could you reproduce it exactly? But you've got like pictures like this, just again, just glorious. Obviously, you've got the kings there, King and Queen George, Prince of Wales, and Prince Frederick, later Duke of York, in the picture there. Just absolute glorious pictures, and also lots and lots of examples of like maps and things about like Covent Garden. Just fascinating. That's what I got. Of course, as always, when you look through that, can't find it, but there is a lovely map, a couple of maps showing Covent Garden and areas around Soho. And you just think, wow, it gives all details about all the streets and things. Oh, and there's this one, look at that. Piazza di Spagna, obviously in Rome. Just glorious. And this is in pen and brown, wash over pencil. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. I love these sort of books. Now, unfortunately, I didn't buy any comic book ones. I've got a couple of comic books on order because I don't go up to London as much as I used to. I used to go up to London a lot. Used to work in London, so I was always going to the comic shops there. Then my local town doesn't have a comic shop, so when it comes to collecting comics, books, I have to really wait to go up to London or just get them obviously online. And I'm still waiting for Secret Wars. It was supposed to come yesterday. It was listed as coming yesterday. I thought, yes, Secret Wars Omnibus Collection, because it's Secret Wars 1 to 12, just looks great. But it didn't turn up, and it's now in the not yet dispatched mode, which is always a bit concerning, but it might be about 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe it will come. The other copy, it says there, is about £479, which I think is a bit excessive, but still, at the same time, hopefully a new copy will be coming out fairly soon. I've noticed online on eBay and elsewhere that there are copies around, so clearly it's out in the States. Hopefully it'll be here in the UK within a week or two. Who knows? Likewise, I'm expecting Captain Marvel Omnibus, not Miss Marvel, but Captain Marvel, the original one from Marvel Superheroes, Captain Marvel 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I think it goes up to about issue 31 or something like that. I am really looking forward to that omnibus. I was a mega fan of Captain Marvel, 1968-69 period. And obviously I've got a lot of like styling work, but I haven't got the really early Captain Marvel. They did bring it out in Essential. Of course, they brought it at Marvel Masterworks, but I haven't got an omnibus, and I am really looking forward to that. So hopefully that comes soon. And I've got a few other comic book related ones coming out as well that look great. Oh, Treasury of British Comics. There's some great ones on there coming out. I think there's the women's comic or romance comics. I think it's called Romance. I can't remember the title. Don't hold me on that. But that one looks absolutely brilliant. Now, I was slightly disappointed that they're bringing out Jane Bond. Now, I was really looking forward to James Bond, and I loved the Jane Bond stories in Princess Tina back in the 60s. There were some great stories there. Great one. I've got quite a few issues of Jane Bond, but they're bringing out Rebellion Tree, just a 96-page one. And I just thought, why? Why not bring out a 250, 300-page volume? Put the price up. Make it more expensive. Make it hardback. I don't like the sort of 96 pages. It's not much of a book. You want something that's more substantial. And I noticed a number of their collections recently have got thinner and thinner. And I'm just feeling that maybe they could just make more, you see the American ones. American book, they bring out books and they got 500. I know it's scale. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm expecting that the British ones should be sort of, and I don't want to sound like I'm not appreciating the fact that these books are finally coming out, but I just wish that they would come out in even more stunning, brilliant volumes to really sort of stand, you look at it and go, wow, that is a collection. 200, 300 pages, like the Trigon Empire series they've been bringing out. That's been amazing. Now, I know maybe it's licensing and there's probably other reasons. I don't know. It's no point. So maybe that's the reason why the price is the price. But it just seems such a pity that it's just a very thin, small volume, and it would be nice if it was slightly bigger. However, other than that, there's quite a few other, obviously, comic book ones that are coming out that I'm looking forward to as well. Anyway, I will talk about those in the next couple of weeks. Hope you found this of interest, and please put in the comments below anything you've been collecting recently, any books you can suggest that I should be getting. I often get comments, people say, oh, you should buy the not Marvel Team Up, but the Team Up book that Tomorrow's have just brought out. That's on my list of maybes. I don't know. I probably will get it, but at the moment I haven't. And also other books, I'm quite certain that, so the gallery edition one I thought I saw for Spider-Man, I keep thinking I must get that. That's another one. And also maybe some more PS art books as well I'm looking forward to. Anyway, we'll see. Wait, bye.